Hadejia became a Fulani emirate in the time of the jihad, Sambo receiving a flag from Othman Dan Fodio. Hadejia sent in submission to the British in 1903. In 1904, the British occupied the country, but the fifth chief opposed their advent and was overthrown and killed in 1906, and Haruna appointed in his place. He died in 1909 and was succeeded by the Kiroma Abdul Qadri. In that same year, the Bayut el Mal was started. The population number some 115,448 and consists of Kanuri, Fulani, Auyokawa, Koyamawa, Bedawa, Ngizmawa, Mangawa. There is a town of historic interest in Hadejia named Garun Gabas, but which in old times bore the name of Biram, which was originally of great influence. It was founded by Arabs from Bagdaza or Baghdad. The origin of the Auyokawa, Shirawa, and Tishanawa is identical. Three men of the above names, variously described as Maji or as coming from Bagarimi territory east of the Shari, founded three towns about the year 1211 AD. The date is, however, disputed. Local tradition supplies the names and approximate length of reign of 25 chiefs, descendants of Awuya, which would bring his advent to the year 1346 AD, whilst another authority gives 1400 AD. Bedawa. A large number of Bede, perhaps as many again, are scattered through the Sheharat under various headmen. There are 2 Bede villages in the emirate of Hadejia, and individuals are scattered in some Nguzum villages, and they have 1 township in the Katagum emirate, whence the following notes have been collected. These Bede claim to have migrated from Asban and to be of the same stock as those in Bornu, but they have different facial markings, and certain dialectical differences have arisen. Mangawa. Manga is a contraction of the name Madinga, but it has been universally adopted for 70 years. They were probably an indigenous race who were conquered by the Kanuri. Recently they suffered much from Rabe's invasion, but took advantage of it to drive the Kanuri out from the Alanjurori District 1, Gaydam, where they had themselves been settled since circa 1650 AD, but in 5 years' time the Kanuri returned. The Manga now intermarry with the Kanuri, but not with the Kanembu. The Ngizim are an offshoot of the Bedi, who came from Bernin Beda, southwest of Mecca, in the time of the Prophet. See History of Busa and Ilo. The main body, some 12,000 Ngizim, are settled in Bornu. About the year 1700 AD, they were living a few miles west of Birni Gazaragomo when the Fulani raided and captured that town. The Ngizim consequently migrated to Kayuri and thence to Potiskum, where they conquered the Keri. Some remained in the Gaydam division, whence they were driven out by the Shehu Omar some 60 years ago, but returned not long after. A few are settled in the Bedi Independent District, and a small number trekked westwards to Hadejia and Katagum. In Bornu, they have the reputation of being a drunken, backward people, and pagans. In Potiskum, the soil is poor, but farming is the principal occupation, and flocks of sheep and goats are kept. There are a small number of traders, but they will never go eastwards. The following notes are concerning the Hadejia Ngizim, many of whom have adopted the Mohammedan religion, and whose customs have evidently been modified by that civilizing influence, though they will still sometimes eat cattle that have not had their throats cut. They have a distinct language, but speak Kanuri also. Koyamawa. The Koyamawa migrated from Bornu just over a century ago. The story is that they were wealthy people, but only took meager presents to the Shehu and consequently received their name Koyamawa. Koyam being a term to express a covetous man. They left Bornu during the Fulani Wars and settled at Musari, north of Katagum, under Dankawa Cikin Katagum. They were proceeding further to Sokoto, when they were persuaded by Cikin Hadejia Sambo to settle in Hadejia. During the Buhari Wars, they fled to Shira, but returned to their present town at Zagon Koya nearly 50 years ago. The Tijani Fulani settled in the country lying between the Gambia and Senegal rivers, north of Futajello, where they intermarried with the Futajello Fulani, who had become wandering herdsmen in the districts, and whose language they adopted. An Arab, Fodio, and his heirs became chiefs over them. One of his descendants, Alhaji Umoru, made a pilgrimage to Mecca, and on his return, stopped at Fez, and then at Sokoto, where he spent 7 years, and where Bello, Cikin Musulmi, gave him his daughter in marriage. On Bello's death, 1837, he went to a pagan district, Mangawa, and assisted by the 3 chiefs of the countries of Futajello, Futatoro, and Futabundu, waged a jihad. In virtue of a flag he had received from the Sultan of Fez, he was appointed head of the Fulani Empire, composed of the above-mentioned states, and took the title of Cikin Tijani. His conquests extended in the west, from Kayes on the Senegal to Arabinta in the east. He was succeeded on his death by his son, who established sway over Timbuktu. About 1894, however, the French drove him from the country, and he retreated to Sokoto. He was given Zanfara, but died shortly afterwards. His younger brother stopped a while near Messau, but threw in his fortunes with the Cikin Musulmi in opposition to the British, and followed him to Burmi, where he was captured and his followers scattered. Amadou Madanio, son of Amadou of Zanfara, was appointed Cikin Tijani by the British, and has settled at the town of Dakayawa, under the Emir of Hadejia. The French invited him to become chief of the old Tijani kingdom of Segu, but he declined. He is surrounded by some 19 families only. A somewhat larger number remain in the Mariki district of Sokoto Emirate, Zanfara,